grateful to the ABA for this invitation to join Sheer, a fellow millennial, in a conversation that frames my existing work, promoting more intergenerational collaborations, to consciously engage more millennials and Gen Z in this work. I have the pleasure of serving as the Director of Youth Engagement at the National Network for Youth in Washington, D.C., where I oversee a national leadership program empowering formerly homeless, trafficked, and foster care youth who've intersected with the child welfare and juvenile justice systems to use the challenges and successes of their personal stories to inform and transform existing policies in this nation. Everyone in this room is a child advocate, I would like to believe. So I won't address why we should do this work of being more inclusive and intergenerational, rather how. I remember the day my teenage self woke up to a mandatory hurricane evacuation in my hometown of New Orleans, Louisiana. I remember waking up days later with 3 outfits, $40, and a cell phone, in another state, separated from family, attending college classes during the day, and figuring out what I was going to eat and what kind stranger's couch I would sleep on that night. I remember encountering many individuals and agencies whose leaders seemed proficient in how to best serve me. But there was one person who did something no one else did. She asked me a simple question that changed my perception on the power I possessed then and the kind of leader I aspire to be now. She asked, "What do you need? What do you need?" In that moment, I thought, I don't know. You're the grown-up. It's your job to tell me what I need. But my actual response in that moment was, I need food. I need someone to help me secure a new birth certificate and social security card so I can get a job. And I need a safe place to sleep tonight and the nights that follow so I can finish college. A single leader who had the audacity to believe little old teenage me had the answer to help her help me made me vow that once I received that college degree to never walk into a program, an organization, or a community thinking I was more of an expert on the needs of the very people I served than they were. 3 college degrees later, and perhaps a 4th in a few months if I can manage to focus more on the dissertation than Netflix and Hulu. This mindset frames my work. The power and benefits of acknowledging the expertise and values of those we serve, specifically young people. What if youth drove the policy that shaped their lives? This is the final question before you today. And as we bring our presentation to a close, I'd like you to consider a few more. Not merely asking ourselves, what if youth drove the policy that shaped their lives, but what if we allowed them to? What if we prepared them to? What if we saw them looked beyond their age, their circumstance, sometimes even their criminal records, and noticed their brilliance and value instead? What if we made room for them at the table? What if the next time this group gathered, we invited a few of them into the room? What if we refused to sit at tables and engage in work for them and about them without them? What if we saw them less as props and means to an end of our individual and organizational objectives and saw them as partners instead? What if we regarded their experience as more significant than our education? What if we recognized them as experts? What if we collaborated with them and allowed them to advise us on how to better serve them? What if we added them to our advisory boards and committees? What if we were more willing to be taught? Our young people don't need more leaders, they need more listeners. They don't need better leaders, they need better listeners who allow them more opportunities to be the experts and leader of their past stories and future. to know our role, our place, and our strengths while also acknowledging theirs? What if youth drove the policy that shaped their lives? Well, in the past year alone, I'll tell you what I've seen happen. A young man from the Democratic Republic of the Congo traveled to Brazil to speak at the ABA's International Summit on the legal rights of street-connected children and youth, to share that even though he and his family could face violence and other consequences because he decided to stand up and speak out for his rights and that of other young people like him, because youth voices matters. That's what a girl who became homeless after aging out of foster care went from wondering if her voice mattered to opening her own youth drop-in center in her hometown of Detroit, speaking at conferences and events around the country because now she knows her voice matters. That's what a young person who was abandoned and kicked out of the house at age 13 after coming out as trans to his family sits in the Hart Senate building next to me and across from his senator and 3 senior policy advisors, sharing his heartbreaking and inspiring story to convince a senator and other adults that other adults unsuccessfully did for 4 years to sign on to legislation supporting the very policies and funding that help him transition from a homeless kid sleeping under a bridge in Alaska to a college freshman braving nervousness to speak up so his peers could have similar successes. That's what. As I close, what can we do in this place? Next time we sit with them as their lawyer or judge or social worker or program director, before assuming we know exactly what they need, let's ask them. Next time they march or advocate for their rights, let's march and advocate beside them. Next time we revise our organizational policies and strategic plans to better serve them, let's engage them. Next time they open their mouths and hearts and minds to tell us what they need from us to help us help themselves, let's listen to them. And finally, next time this amazing group of dynamic leaders and advocates gather to empower and encourage each other to press forward to keep fighting this critical and necessary fight for children's rights, let's invite them. Thank you.